All right, welcome to the very first episode of StartHers TV, the online channel where we help women awaken to their power, walk in their purpose, and win by sharing their gifts with the world. Again, I am your host, Akili Worthy, and I'm so excited about you joining us for tonight's spotlight of a woman who decided to take a big leap. We'll show you more right after this. All right, so we are back on the scene now and ready to talk about a wonderful woman that I just met a few weeks back on the social media scene. Her name is Nika Love, and she is setting the world on fire with her writing. She decided to take a big leap by leaving her corporate 9 to 5 job and jumping feet first into her dream of utilizing her writing to take her career to the next level. So, what does she enjoy most about what she's doing? It's basically the freedom. You know, ladies, don't we really want to be in a position where we have the opportunity to utilize our time the way we see fit? Definitely. So when you take on an entrepreneurial venture, as so many of us are trying to do, that is one of the things that you really can't understand, I think, until you have the opportunity to not have people telling you where to go, when to be. So that's awesome. That's one of the things that she really enjoys. Also, there's no better feeling for her than creating her own schedule and living her life on her own terms. Not only does she get the opportunity to choose when she works and what she works on, but she also gets that opportunity to choose whom she wants to work with. And again, so many of us in corporate America don't have that opportunity to really choose our customer or choose the projects that we like to work on. So again, that entrepreneurial piece is huge for so many of us. She also has really stepped into creating the type of business that she desires. She's using her writing currently as a freelance resume writer, and she just started an empowerment blog on Facebook, which is awesome. I want you to check that out at facebook.com/I am Nika Love. That's NIKALOVE. And that's really just the beginning for her. She's really gearing up to do some big things, as she knows that she is a woman that is clarifying and walking in her purpose, and really wants to share her gifts with the world so that she can win. The unique thing about Nika taking this leap is that she walked on faith. And ladies, so many of us want to take these big leaps in our lives, but we're afraid. We're waiting for the right time. We're waiting for everything to line up and really roll out the red carpet for us to take that leap. But those things typically don't happen. Nika says when she took the leap, she had actually secured writing contracts with 3 companies. But she didn't have her business established at the time. She didn't have any emergency savings account, which so many of us feel like we have to do. And she didn't even have a business plan in place. So the way that she did it could be considered a little risky, but it was the way that she chose to do it nonetheless. She felt like it was an action step that she needed to take, as that call on her life was very strong, and all she knew she needed to do was step out on faith, and everything else would work out. Sounds a little crazy. Sounds a little, you know, it'll make you gasp sometimes to think about walking out on faith to fulfill your dream. But again, because it's your dream, and if you're walking it purposefully, it's definitely something where it's not going to stop calling you until you make the decision to do something about it. So she just continued to trust her inner voice, and she felt very complete about her desire to take that step. Now, in terms of what advice she would provide other women who are interested in making that big leap, is to make sure you're clear about your intentions. I'm big on setting your intentions before you make decisions to do things. I believe that as long as your intent is to serve people on the highest level, then the universe will co-create with you and help you along your path. But you do need to be certain about your why. Um, a lot of times if we don't know our why, you can take a big leap, but you won't have that passion, you won't have that motivation to keep you going when things get difficult. And we know that in any entrepreneurial venture, there is always going to be some difficulties or obstacles. So Nika says it's very important for you to understand why you're doing it. Um, she could have made the leap earlier, which I thought was very interesting in you know, speaking with her. But she really wasn't as clear as she needed to be. There was some things that she did want to clean up first. Um, she wanted to make sure everything, all of her loose ends were tied up and that she wasn't running away from anything. She was only in a position that she was actually running towards what she actually desired. So she waited until things were, I'm not going to say fully comfortable for her, but she waited until her path was cleared of old belief patterns that could potentially stop her on her road to being successful. And then she was able to really move in a peaceful and positive way towards where she wanted to go. Um, the other thing that she would make sure we understand is that, again, there is no perfect moment. The sun, the moon, and the stars are not going to align for you to jump out on faith. As you walk, the path is then created for you underneath your feet. And so many of us want that path to actually be illuminated for us before we make the decision to move out and trust what the Spirit actually has for us, or trust what God has created for us. Um, if you know it's your time to take the leap, don't let anything stop you. And she's very adamant about that. You'll never know it until you try. And we tend to look at things like the worst case scenario is what's certain to happen, when in fact it's highly unlikely that that worst case scenario is what is going to come to fruition. The worst thing that could happen in most cases is that you will have to course correct. If you left your job in order to leap and move into something, then you put yourself in a position where now you would have to go back and find another job. If you're truly a skilled individual and you have the gift of gab and you enjoy talking to people, then it probably won't be difficult for you to make the connections you need to make in order to find yourself employed again. But you should expect that there is going to be some failure on your path. You should expect that there's going to be breakdowns on your path. Without breakdowns, there can be no breakthroughs. So don't be afraid of those types of things happening. The last piece of the puzzle in terms of what she wants to share with us as a funny or unusual thing that's happened on her journey is that she has really had to get her ego in check. Um, you know, I speak to my clients all the time about the power of the ego, the power of that little voice that's in your head that's consistently trying to keep you safe and prevent you from leaping. Your ego has no clue about what's going to happen when you do take a leap. So it will be very loud and often tell you, hey, this is not a good idea. Again, its goal is to keep you safe. So I get it, and my clients get it as well. But if we listen to it too much, it has the ability to create a lot of limitations for you. So in Nika's case, she knew that her ego was very overactive, very persistent, very creative, and with that, it created some very strong stories about all kinds of things that could go wrong when she took this leap. She actually had a whole novel written and published shortly after by her ego. So she definitely attributes her ability to do some things to her ego's working. After she decided to leave her job, she was able to put those things into place and get that novel created. But I don't know if the ego was fully on board with her making the decision to at least get it out there and publish it. The ego probably had some stories that it ended up telling her, like, maybe this is not a good idea. Maybe everybody's not going to like your work. Maybe there's not going to be enough people to resonate with your story. But despite all of that, she was still able to move forward. She knew she was going to leave her job. Despite the fact of the ego stories, which she didn't think were very funny at the time, she still pushed past the fear. So, again, I talked to a lot of women about being uh, fearless. And that doesn't mean that you have no fear. It's really more in line with being courageous. There are things that you are going to fear, but what do you do when you're faced with that? What do you do when you encounter that fear? Many of us are trained to go the other way when we feel fear. But you want to be courageous when you are looking at achieving your dreams. Because if you're not going to go out there and get it done, then who will? So she tells her ego, you know what? There were some limitations that you tried to put on me and plenty of stories that you told me about what could go wrong, but I took the leap anyway, and guess what? I am still alive. And not only is she alive, ladies, she is thriving. So I definitely want you to take some time out of your day and check out some of the things that this lady has written. Again, you're going to go to facebook.com/. I am Nika Love. And hopefully I can get her on the show one day, and you guys will have the opportunity to meet this special lady face to face. Thank you so much for joining us for today's Fire Starter Sessions. Again, if you know a woman who really would deserve to be in that spotlight and be shown for the wonderful things that she's done or leaps that she's taken in one of the major life areas, definitely reach out to me and let me know. My email address is below. Also, if you have a business or you have an interest in being spotlighted on Fire Starters Television, definitely reach out to me as well. It is my honor and a privilege to be in a space where I can really showcase the beautiful things and dynamic choices that women are making. Until then, we will see you till the next episode. All right, goodbye.